Competitions are heating up at Miami Hurricanes fall camp. Watch out for jersey number 15. Both of them on both sides of the football.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, your host. I'm a University of Miami alumnus and longtime South Florida sports radio vet. And thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We are available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. So there's been good mojo for the jersey number 15 because both Avantae Williams on the defensive side of the football and Jacolby George on offense, who wear that same jersey number, have been balling out so far. Now, keep in mind, there is a practice today, which is day 5. The media was not invited for this one, so we can only talk about what's been going on days 1 through 4. We've had a lot of standouts and a lot of competition so far. So let's bring on a colleague of mine who has been boots on the ground out there at practice, Luke Chaney, who does an awesome job covering the Canes for allhurricanes.com, part of the Sports Illustrated family. Luke, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well, man. Fall camp has been super fun so far. Can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, and let's start with on those number 15s. Let's start with the one on the offensive side of the football, because on Locked On Canes, we've been talking so much about receivers lately and who's going to emerge as the top target. And it sounds to me like Jacolby George is becoming an even stronger candidate than he was already. You've described him as the smoothest of the wide receivers you've watched so far. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, there's just a certain fluidity within his game that I just see with him compared to the rest of the receivers. It's just the way he moves, the way he gets off his releases, the way he breaks off his routes. It's just so effortless. And I mean, it's really fun to watch. I mean, he had an amazing spring. I mean, like truly, he had an amazing spring. He took a majority of the first team reps throughout the spring. And he really started to develop that connection with Tyler Van Dyke. And we see so far through the fall, I can't really speak for what happened the first 2 practices because I wasn't there. In that third practice, he started off with a couple drops, but he really answered and finished off the rest of the media viewing portion off really well. And then the fourth practice yesterday was just phenomenal. He had a couple of really good catches on some passes thrown behind him. And you just see that effortlessness. Words are hard. That he's just played so well so far. And I really think that he's going to probably end up being that starting Z receiver for Miami.
Well, I love this because we're already starting to see developments that are going a long way to answering a lot of the questions that I had before fall camp started about the wide receiver position. But I will also, as Luke knows this, I know this, you guys watching this, you're all smart Canes fans. You know this. You can't, first 4 days of practice, a depth chart does not make. So there's a longer way to go here. But also tell me about Frank Ladson, because as you noted at allhurricanes.com, Ladson is also getting a lot of starting receiver reps. How's he looked?
Yeah, so I mean, throughout the majority of spring and through the majority of last season, Keyshawn Smith was that starting X receiver. I thought he had a pretty good season last year. And he had a pretty okay spring. I wouldn't say he wowed, but it was solid. He wasn't noticeably bad or noticeably struggled by any means. But towards the end of spring, we did start to see Frank Ladson start to get some more of these first team reps. And that has continued on to the fall, to where, at least for the media viewing portion, could be completely different when we're told to leave the field. Just want to make that clear. But at least for the media viewing portion, he has received those first team reps over Keyshawn Smith. And I think that his ceiling within Miami's offense could be a little higher than Keyshawn's, although I think Keyshawn does have a higher floor, as we've already seen with last season.
Have we seen much? Because another receiver who's really, really popular with our audience is Romelo Brinson. Have we seen some good stuff from Melo?
Yeah, so with Melo, I mean, a lot of fans have to remember that, he missed the entirety of spring. So don't pay too much attention to, oh, he's third team, he's this, he's that. give it time with him. Let him just take some time to really develop and grow within this offense, because he is super talented. He right now, or at least yesterday, he was the third team X receiver behind Frank Ladson and Keyshawn Smith. Like I said, really doesn't matter that much. But from what I saw, has some similar traits to that of Jacolby. Very fluid receiver. Does not much wasted movement. Good hands. And he's a guy. I think he's a dark horse candidate in that room. He's a guy. Yeah, no, I'm serious. He's a guy that I think, wait a couple weeks, let him, like I said, let him grow within this offense. Let him make up for what he missed in the spring. But he could be someone that, whether it's in the beginning of the season or more towards the end of the season, could become a starting outside receiver. I really think that.
And by the way, I just want to let everyone know, I cannot wait to join Luke and our other colleague, Collier, out at fall practices. I've been out of town, as you guys know, because my Wi-Fi in the hotel room I was in was freaking awful. So hopefully I'm on serviceable internet now. I'm back in the 305. I'm going to be out at fall practices, taking everything in with my guys here. And everyone should check out Luke's work at allhurricanes.com. So Luke, the other guy who wears the number 15 on the defensive side of the football, he's part of maybe one of the best, if not the best, safety rooms in the entire country when we think about what Miami has with James Williams, with Cameron Kitchens, and with number 15, Avante Williams. You specifically gave mention to Avante. What has stood out to you about him so far?
Yeah, so I will say there's question marks on Miami's defense. Those are expected. But I'd have no questions regarding that safety room. They are awesome. Without a doubt, the hallmark of the defense. And I really could see Avante Williams being the leader of that group. Like I mentioned, just given what the media has access to, we haven't seen him in a live setting so far throughout fall camp. He was awesome in 11-on-11 work in the spring, as was James Williams and Cam Kitchens. They're so talented. But anyways, with Avante Williams, so just even in drills, even in individual drills, there's just something different about him. It's just the way he moves, no wasted movements. His agility, his quickness, it's so precise. And everyone just talks about Avante Williams being just a natural safety. He just has that natural talent that you would like to see from him. And at least through fall camp, that's shown, and he is definitely one of the breakout candidates of this defense. I'm so excited to see how he plays this year. We saw towards the second half of last season, him really started to get comfortable. He had that game against Georgia Tech, that one interception that was just incredible. He did not even play a full season. Let's see him with a full season, see how he does. But he has all the tools, and I really think he could be in store for something special this year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk a little bit about the offensive line, because something that, we all know they're going to be really well coached, right? Yeah. Because the Cristobal Mirabal combo, probably the best tag team in coaching offensive lines in the entire country, especially when you have a head coach who's a former O-lineman, former O-line coach, and Mirabal is just an absolute grinder. So we know these guys are going to get at least a little bit better just based on coaching alone. And another thing that these coaches have been doing is there's been really a lot of cross training, like a lot of rotation around that line, like guys taking reps at center who've never done that before. And, to open up the season, Zion Nelson is not going to be ready, we don't think, for the Bethune-Cookman game. So we may get a chance to see John Campbell, who missed all of last year with a knee issue. Hopefully he's back better than ever. Could very well be the starting left tackle week 1. So there's a lot of moving parts there. What stood out to you so far, Luke, about the O-line?
Yeah, so the one thing is, unfortunately, the O-line, because I really want to watch Trench play. I really want to see Trench play, really want to see how they develop, but they're on the complete opposite side of the field.
Oh, no.
I know it sucks. So it's so pretty much
because they probably know people like you who want to watch Trench play. It's such a niche, right? Because they're probably thinking the media's out here. These guys are all, they're trying to get clicks. So they want to cover the quarterbacks and the receivers because that's what moves it. Like, they don't want to watch the trench play. That's probably what they're thinking about the media.
But like, I mean, honestly, like that's where the most competition is right now. So I guess what I've been able to gather so far through my phone camera from a distance away is that, like you mentioned, a lot of cross training. DJ Scaife mentioned in a post practice availability on Monday that I mean, he's playing everywhere. He's playing on the left side, he's playing on the right side. They're interchanging guys at that left tackle position in Zion Nelson's absence. We've seen Jalen Rivers there. We've seen John Campbell there. I mean, Mario Cristobal, Miami staff, they're huge fans of Campbell. I remember he said, I think on media day or AC kickoff, one of those availabilities that he expects Campbell to become one of the best offensive linemen, not only on the ACC, but in the country, which I mean is, high expectations. And if Campbell can finally put it all together, that'll just be huge for Miami's offensive line. One thing that I did see from yesterday, when I went back like on the 2 clips I was able to get from the trenches, was that Miami was really keen in on their zone-based blocking scheme in the run game. And like, there are certain things in football and basketball that I love to watch, I love to see. And a zone-based run scheme is one of those things. I mean, we see it all over the NFL right now with, with the Miami Dolphins, with Mike McDaniel and the Mike Shanahan coaching tree, how the zone scheme is just taking over the NFL, and we really see it in college as well. And it's good to see that Miami will be implementing a lot of it within their offense. I mean, Michigan had one of the best run games in the country last year under Josh Gaddis. They had a lot of outside zone, wide zone, inside zone, such a creative and fun run game. And I think that given Miami's personnel on the offensive line, it really fits. So I'm happy to see, or I was happy to see that in practice that they're working on this. And I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch this season.
We got so much more coming on this episode of Locked On Canes. Don't go anywhere because we still have to talk about I thought for a while he was in Miami target. William Foles has committed to Louisville. Is there more to that story? Plus, more nuggets from fall camp. We got to talk about the quarterbacks right after we talk about betonline.net. I'm there every day. It's the fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your betting needs. Find all of your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. A buddy of mine told me he was on BetOnline the other day looking at all the Miami Hurricanes futures, and he's locked in the overs on everything. So thank you, BetOnline, for that. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. We're part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Luke, everyone wants to know, how does Tyler Van Dyke look? I also want to know, how do Jake Garcia and Jakari Brown look? Because it's my understanding with Jakari, he's got all the physical tools. He's just kind of got a long way to go when it comes to sort of getting into the whole college mindset. So what have you seen from the quarterback room?
Yeah, so to start off with Tyler Van Dyke, he is good. He's a good quarterback. But no, I mean, he's as good as ever. I mean, super precise, best ball placement in the room. I mean, his deep field accuracy, or his deep ball accuracy, is just it's insane. It's really insane. I mean, just he's coming into his own. No major. I mean, I haven't learned anything else from Tyler that we didn't see throughout the entirety of the second half last season. One takeaway, actually, scratch that. One takeaway for all you apparel watchers out there, he has been rocking the double long sleeve.
Really?
Past 2 days, yeah. I don't know if it's something that will continue to the season, but I mean, it's a look. We'll see if that translates onto the field. So just throwing that out there. Then moving on with Jake Garcia and Jakari Brown. Garcia's look good. I mean, if you guys remember, I mean, the competition for, the backup quarterback spot in the beginning of last season was very close between Garcia and Van Dyke. So he's really not that far behind TVD. And that's shown. I mean, he's a very, very solid quarterback. His short and intermediate accuracy is very, very, very good. Can throw the deep ball as well. It's just a little more inconsistent when compared to Van Dyke. But I mean, yeah, if anything were to happen to Van Dyke that would force him to miss time, Miami would be in great hands with Garcia. With Jakari Brown, I mean, you mentioned his physical attributes are just off the charts. If give him another year or two in Coach Feld's strength and conditioning program, and I really think he could be Miami's most physically gifted quarterback ever. It's just he's 6'6". It's insane. You mentioned, he was brought in as someone that is a developmental guy. I mean, not a day one quarterback, someone that you don't want to really see the field in his first or even second season, someone who by, maybe year 3 can really contend for some playing time. And I think he's really on that trajectory right now. We see those flashes, especially on the long ball where it's like, oh, wow, that was a phenomenal throw. He also moves very well. He's a very athletic guy. But then we see those inconsistencies. And one thing is when he's off target, he's really off target, which is, which is fine. It's fine because he was brought in to be that guy. There are going to be some bumps on the road, and that's completely fine. But I mean, you would like to see maybe not this fall camp, but heading into spring 2023, him start to kind of tune up those inconsistencies just a little bit. But I mean, I'm completely fine with his development so far.
It's funny, the quarterback depth down the road, it's going to be insane. Of course, assuming everybody stays and everybody stays committed. But, on paper, you mentioned when Jakari Brown enters year 3, right? When he's entering year 3, you're also going to have him competing with the likes of Jaden Rashada and Emory Williams. And that's assuming Jake Garcia, if he has a really good year next year, maybe Garcia might even move on to the NFL. So then year 3, Jakari's going to be competing with, Rashada, Emory Williams, maybe even Garcia if he's still there. It's like, man, there's just so much there, Luke.
Oh yeah, no, there's so much talent. The depth right now is pretty good. Just wait another year or two. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's going to get better.
Speaking of true freshmen, I should have brought this up when we were talking wide receivers, but I'm bringing it up now. Everyone is really, really high on true freshman Isaiah Horton at wide receiver. That's a guy. I mean, I don't talk about him enough. We did an episode on wide receivers a couple days ago. I ran through 10 different, well, maybe not 10, but I ran through a half dozen guys who are candidates to be starters this year. And then people are showing up in the comments hey, how come you didn't mention Isaiah Horton? He's been really good so far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really glad you brought up his name because coming into fall camp, it's not that I wasn't expecting anything from him, but he wasn't really one of the guys that I was watching out for. And when I saw him run through individual drills, run through routes with the QBs, I was like, wait, hold on. There's something here because we all know about his size. He's 6'3", 6'4", big body receiver. And I mean, he's built well. He's a good frame, but he moves very, very well for his height. Just a natural receiver, smooth breaks. I have not seen him drop any passes yet, which is a plus. And he's someone that I don't really expect him to receive much playing time his freshman season. That could change. I just don't expect it given how many bodies are in the room. I mean, it's one of Miami's deepest positions. But he's someone that, wait a year or two could really step up into a starting role. I've loved what I've seen from him so far. It's been really impressive.
Let's talk about true freshman running back Travante Citizen. So the first time that I saw him in person was last Tuesday in media day, and I thought I was looking at a 21, 22-year-old. It's ridiculous. I think you saw him in person for the first time Monday when you went out to practice. Did you have the same reaction I did, that I don't feel like I'm looking at an 18-year-old?
Yeah, so I mean, I heard in day 1 and day 2, people are saying, "Oh, this guy's I mean, like his build is incredible. He's built like an NFL back. I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, let's relax a little bit. Let's hold off on that. I mean, come on, let's not overreact here. Come on, whatever. So I get there on Monday, looking at the running backs. I see number 6. I'm like, oh, okay. I see it now because no, like he's legit built like an NFL back. It's insane. I mean, like it's not that he's just big, but he's like big, lean. It's just incredible. I mean, like dude is I was just shocked. And I mean, he's definitely going to be a guy that's going to be in contention for some playing time. I mean, the running back room as a whole is the deepest it's been since, I mean, like, I don't know when.
People hate it when I say this, but I think it's the deepest it's been since 2001. People hate it because, like, I'm not trying to compare the players in this room to the players in that room, at least not yet, but just depth-wise, deepest in 20 years.
Exactly. I mean, like, you would want, some to stand out from that room because there's not a ton of proven production from those 5 guys. But from a pure depth standpoint, like I said, you have 5 guys who you can make an argument will receive 10 or more carries or touch the ball 10 times in a game, which is insane because they're not all going to receive that amount of playing time. But listen, I mean, like Josh Gaddis and the rest of Miami's coaching staff, they have a good problem on their hands trying to divide these carries among 5 really different and really talented running backs.
We're going to devote the segment coming up to recruiting, so keep it locked right here. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. So last night, and it seemed to, it happened after I went to bed, I think. I go to bed very early. But we saw, like, kind of quietly the verbal commitment drop from 4-star wide receiver out of Avant-Garde in South Florida, former Dade Christian player. That's where we have all the tape from because he's transferring to Avant-Garde. But William Foles was announced as a verbal commit to the Louisville Cardinals. I woke up to that news this morning. I guess I'm just a little bit surprised that it was Louisville. I'm not surprised that it wasn't Miami because for the last couple of weeks, and he's kept moving his announcement dates back, for the last couple of weeks, the feedback I've been getting is a guy who once looked like a Miami lock very recently. It seems to me like the staff backed off a little bit on his recruitment, which kind of makes me wonder what else they may be kind of hiding up their sleeve at wide receiver. But let's start with the Foles part of it, Luke, and I like this player a lot, because he's big and he's got really good hands. I think Miami needs to bring in someone with that sort of 6'4" size into this class. I get the sense that, and I don't, no disrespect to Louisville because he may end up being great there. I just get the sense that that's really not where he wanted to go. And a lot of that is based on his own tweets, right? About how people are going to miss out on me is what he's tweeting out. So it doesn't make it seem like that's the place he wanted to land. I think he wanted to come to Miami.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the vibe that I think we've all been getting. That, I mean, and listen, it's not confirmed, it's whatever, it's just purely speculation. But if Miami gave the green light, a lot of people think that's where William Foles would be.
Yeah.
And listen, I think he's a fantastic receiver. As you mentioned, he kind of fits the mold of a wideout that Miami doesn't really have much of. But I think for at least through Miami's point of view, they aren't looking to really take many more receivers in this 2023 cycle. I would say 2 maximum. Maybe they only even take 1. And that's kind of just in preparation for the monstrosity of a wide receiver class that 2024 is with, Ryan Ringo, JoJo Trader, and Jeremiah Smith. I mean, like, those are 3 guys that Miami's talking to right now that are all top 10 in their class for 2024. So I think that's the year when Miami goes all in on the wide receiver position, and they're really just kind of looking for the high-end talent to kind of round out their 2023 class right now. And I mean, we have heard guys, connected with Miami. There's Oregon commit Jurion Dickey, who there's been some buzz regarding Miami in that name. Nothing official, nothing, whatever. But there's buzz, there's smoke,
Well, and he was at the cookout, which it's definitely something. Like people tried to say, no, it's nothing, but no, it's definitely something that he was at the cookout.
Yeah, like there's smoke, there's whatever, it's definitely just a situation to monitor in the next few months. Miami is still pushing for Andy Jean, who they really like. And I mean, even Andy said at the Miami Dade media day a few days ago that, if Miami wants him on an official visit throughout the season, he's probably going to take it. So Gene hasn't necessarily shut down his recruitment, and I think Miami is going to continue to push for him over the next few months. It's still relatively early. I mean, like listen, what Mario did at the end of the 2022 class with it, like in what, like 2-3 months was insane. So, I mean, given that he did that, there's plenty of time for, Mario and the rest of Miami staff to do their thing and to really continue pushing for Gene. But in regard to Foles, though, I mean, I'm sure Miami staff likes him. I mean, like I said, bigger body receiver. He's a dog in that sense, and I think he'd be a really terrific wideout to add. And let's say if Miami aren't able to flip Dickey, they're not able to flip Gene, I could really see them, recircling things with Foles and kind of seeing where he's at. So I don't think it's a 100% certainty that Foles ends up at Louisville. So we'll see how that situation plays out in the next few months.
I think what you said about possibly not having the green light, I think that's the perfect way to say it, right? And I, this is just the reality that and it's a good thing, guys, that, sometimes you're going to have to either turn certain players away or just say, we can't guarantee you anything right now. And then maybe they get impatient and want to commit somewhere else. That's what happens when you've got a team that a lot of people want to play for, and you've got a staff that can recruit like this, that you can't just give everybody the green light right away because, all the names you mentioned, Miami is still in play for, including Dickey. I'm not expecting Hakeem Williams, but Miami is still in play there, and he is going to be announcing about a month and a half from now on September 23rd. So that's another one to keep an eye on at wide receiver. And I thought Luke said it best, that since the 2024 class is so deep, you always have to be thinking four-dimensionally, right? You're going to have receiver spots open for next year as well. So I like that a lot, and I thank you for taking the time. Everyone, follow Luke on Twitter at Luke_Chaney4. Are you related to Don Cheney?
To my knowledge, I am not. But funny enough, he's like the only like last name Cheney that I've like. I don't know. I haven't met many other like Cheneys in my life. So
and it's spelled the same way, right? Because I think I may have seen that name spelled a couple different ways, but the two of you have it spelled with the NEY. That's so that's why, check ancestry.com. There may be a common ancestor there somewhere. Yeah, and check out Luke's work at allhurricanes.com. Luke Chaney, thank you so much for dropping in, sir. I'll see you out there in a couple days.
Thank you, man. Yeah, let's have fun at the next fall practice.
I love it. Hey, guys, make sure you get more on the ACC by making Locked On ACC your second listen every day. Host Candace Cooper and the local experts of Locked On take you across the conference in 30 minutes or less. Make Locked On ACC your second listen. Thank you for making us your first. We will talk to you again tomorrow on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.